Something looks like it's going on over here.
So the second one.
Let's see. If anybody is going to join us. Tired, babe? I'm sorry. This isn't fun, though. You don't think so? You don't think so, babe? Hmm?
You gotta do all that.
Well, you don't really have to, but it makes it so much easier. Hello, hello. I don't see. Hey, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, I'm gonna update it. Yay! I'm glad you all could come over on this one. How is it on your end? So the next question that I have.
There you go. The people are rolling.
Hey, Francine. Look. Hey, Francine. How you doing, beautiful? Oh, it looks and sounds good. Yay. I think it's a YouTube thing. I think it's like when you get to a certain time, they start doing something. But I really noticed it. Y'all didn't start saying anything until we started talking about the God. Next question was, has anyone ever knocked on your van, especially at night? No. I have never had anyone knock on my van, and no one to knock on my van at night. I think some of that has a lot to do with where you park, especially if you're in residential areas. A lot of people try to park on residential streets and things, and I think that's where many people get the knocks. Or if they have overlooked signage. Sometimes there are signs that are hidden, and before I stay anywhere, I do a really thorough search of, do I see signs that says private property, overnight, no overnight parking, no camping, or things like that. I really, really try my darndest to make sure that I am aware. But that does require me to get to those places during daylight hours so that I can visually see what's going on, and I get a chance to visually see what's around me. So that's part of the reason why I believe that I have not gotten a knock on my van. And no, I've not had anyone bother me in my van either. There was one instance where I was parked at a Walmart parking lot when I was in Canada, and this guy it was pretty sparse. He was parked off by himself. I went and parked off where I wanted to park, and I heard some motor right in, because I was in the area by myself, and he had parked kind of catty-corner to my van, and I'm like, why? He was parked by, nobody was around him, and why would you be over there in front of me, literally in front of me? I didn't ask any questions. I didn't put anything up. I politely got in my van and I pulled off and I went somewhere else. So I don't play. Tracey, don't play about Tracey, okay?
Just to add a little footnote to that, the other thing that helps deter, even on your home, think about your van just like your home. If you have lights, people are less likely to approach your vehicle, especially if they have some, things on their mind other than to be helpful. So, get some cheap spotlights and put them around your van, and they go off just like the ones on your house, and they'll go away. It's like turn on the lights to the roaches.
Oh, I know. They're scatter, right?
Yeah.
I get this question a lot, and it is, please, what is the name of the company that helped with your build? It is not necessarily a company, it is a person. He used to have his own company when he was younger, and he is a master carpenter. He used to work with Red Bull and do all of their exhibits and things like that. I found him on Facebook. I do not give his name and his number, not because I'm trying to prevent him from getting work or prevent you all from getting work, but because he has asked me to not do that. He would prefer for me to get your information and give it to him so that he can decide whether or not he wants to do the work. He is almost 70 years young, although he is in good health from what I gather. And he wants to decide if he wants to work because he's done so it's not a company, it is a person. And I will also say, somebody said, wanted to know how much it was hourly. Well, I don't know what I can't share what his hourly rates are because they may have changed since I worked with him, but I did pay hourly, but I was able to keep my costs down because I worked alongside him. Some people do not want to do any work. They ain't trying to get their nails broke. They ain't trying to get their hands dirty. I wanted to know what was going on in my van so that if anything happens, I know we did this and this. That was important to me. And I also wasn't trying to pay out of the yazoo. So getting my hands dirty, getting some cuts and bruises and all of that was fine for me. And it kept my costs down. So if you are interested in my builder, the person that helped me build the van out, and I actually work with several people. I work with the electrician, plumber that works on our house to do the electrical and the plumbing. I had a solar company that I will never refer anyone to. Never. So don't ask me because I'm never going to refer anyone to this solar company. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Let's see if I have. That was. This question is for where in the herd is Tiffany. That's exactly what it says. And Hope There's No Place Like Home Club asked me about the company that did the remodel. But where in the herd is Tiffany at? How long are you planning to be in your RV? Don't know. My goal is to finish my travels to US, Canada, throughout the US, Canada, Mexico, and Alaska, hopefully in the next year. That would be great because I'm not planning on spending excessive amounts of time in any of the states unless it just feels good. It took me a month to do Nova Scotia and Ontario, Canada, because there were so many places that I wanted to see. And I was tired and I rested. So I don't know. We're gonna just, that one is gonna be, we'll figure that out as I go. But thank you so much for that question. K.T1000, she has two questions. What address do you use while living in your van? That's the first part. And what is the T-Mobile internet box called? I never know you can have the internet installed. Okay, I'm going to answer the second question first.
I can answer that for you.
What?
The T-Mobile box.
What is it called?
Trash.
I knew it. I didn't know he knew the name of it. But it was he said it was called trash. How is everybody doing? Because I don't see any messages or anything. You guys good on your end? I don't see anything. So I want to make sure. No hang-ups. The T-Mobile internet was supposedly to be business internet. It's definitely something going on YouTube, obviously, because I've started over, and Francine is saying, I thought it was just me. I don't see anything either. That's crazy. Well, I tell you what, since we seem to be having issues, how about we schedule part 2 for another day? I don't know when. I'll have to check with hubby. Okay, Nicole says she's good. You want to answer like 2 or 3 more questions and then?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was T-Mobile Internet Business. And let me tell you, it worked really good in the beginning until I started traveling. And I was very intentional, as I typically am, in telling T-Mobile that I would be traveling. I am not mobile. And I mean, I'm not stationary. I am mobile and I am traveling. I can see your comment now, Lizette. Okay. Now it's moving. Hey, Winifred, how you doing, beautiful? At any rate, I was very upfront with T-Mobile and let them know that I was mobile. And they were like, yes, this is the right thing. And it worked for a little bit. And then it didn't. There was no service at all when I was in Maine, pretty much. There was no service at all because they have no service in Canada. So it was useless the entire time that I was in Canada. And I no longer have the T-Mobile internet. Was that you? I no longer have T-Mobile since I've had it. One thing that I love about Starlink, turn it off. It's not a contract. Yes, it is a little pricey, but it has been working. I promise you that. But is it pricey? That's $150 a month is what some people pay for phones. So if you have a remote job and you have to be on the internet, you have to have access to a working internet. It may be the only thing that is available to you because it is satellite driven, I guess. I'm not sure if that's why it works so well, but it has been working so far. And we're going to keep sending up those prayers that it will continue to do so. The next question, or the first part of her question was, what address do I use? I use my home address because I still have a sticks and bricks. So that's the address that I use. And if my husband needs to ship me something where I am, or if I'm at a campground, I will use those addresses to receive packages, not personal mail. Any personal mail, my husband, we either talk about whatever personal mail has come through, or he will make sure I get it in some shape, fashion, or form. Hey, Neo Avant, thanks. Because I know a lot of people don't have that capability, but because I still have a sticks and bricks. Faith 5897 says, I'm curious, why don't you keep your toilet in the shower area? Because I have a whole closet. My toilet won't fit because my closet is at the very bottom. And on the side where someone would have an actual opening is where my refrigerator is. So I don't have a place to put it in. I can't put it on the other side because my seat to drive the van. So it's not going to be able to fit in the toilet area. And also I probably wouldn't have kept it in the toilet area anyway, because I would have to move it every time I shower. Well, not necessarily, because if it's plastic, but it would minimize how much space I actually have in the shower to shower. And it's already only 24 by 36. So that's why it's not in the shower. And thank you, Faith 5897, for your question. Carol Cotton 8272. She says, why would you keep your seatbelt cutter away from your driving area? Well, first of all, Carol, you are assuming that I only have one seatbelt cutter. If you were looking at my video of the van bill, you would notice that my husband and I are very intentional about my safety. So not only do I have multiple seatbelt cutters, but I have multiple fire blankets. I have multiple weapons. I have a lot of multiple stuff. As someone politely told me, I have a lot of overflow because that's my business, as our sister Tabitha says. You can, baby.
So I'm glad you asked that question, because when it comes to, again, your safety, the problem is that a lot of us, we depend on one means of escape. I'm going to implore you guys, if you do this, in fact, do this in your van, do it in your car, but also do it in your home. Turn off the lights in your house. Okay. Start on the simple level of your home. Turn off all the lights. And then have someone there, have them turn you around, and then try to get up. And the reason you want to do that is because we become very comfortable with the lights on. And yes, in your home, you're somewhat comfortable, even in the dark, somewhat. But when you're turned around, when there's an emergency, again, your fright and your flight kick in, and then you're wondering how to get out. And then people freeze. People get themselves in a form, to get hurt unnecessarily. So when you are in your vehicle, you want to treat your vehicle like your home, because it is your home in your RV. You need to turn off the lights, and you need to figure out how to get out. Where are those safety things that you have? Because that's the time to figure those things out is not in an emergency. So you should be practicing those things. You think about it. If you have a regular job, they do these fire drills, and people get annoyed until there's a real fire. It's the same thing. You should be doing it at your home. Have fire drills. Have some level of safety always where it is to the point where you feel comfortable. I hope I didn't want to run that into the ground, but safety is paramount. There's no travel if you're dead. So it's important to know where you are, where your stuff is at all times, and most importantly, how to find it in the dark or in an emergency.
Neil Avant, yes, baby, thank you. Neil Avant, thank you for coming along with me when I share the historical information, specifically the Black historical information, because this is part of my journey, which is to tap into my ancestral healing, is to tap into the history of my people. And because a lot of our history is just wiped away. Well, they try to. It's just pushed up under the carpet. It is not maintained. It is lied about. We are told so many lies about who we are. Mm-hmm. And if we don't go, it's just like the Bible. You need to divide the truth, divide the word for your own. You need to do that for yourself when it comes to your own history also. So that's why I am doing this for me. And it has been amazing. It has made me even more proud to be a Black person. I would not, if I had the chance to go back and choose to be another ethnicity, I would still choose to be Black. Even with everything that I see, I love being Black. We have so much. Anyway, I love being Black. Black and proud, Black and proud, Black and proud. Okay. I hope I answered that question for Carol Cotton 8272. This is an amazing question because many people do not know this. But before I go on, keeping life simple. I was just talking about you and talking about how you have been shadow banned on YouTube when you share your truth. Hold on just a minute. Because we've had some issues with the internet. Oh, Nia Vaughn, that is a great one. He so blessed to have a husband that allows you to be you and still be a soft woman all at the same time. Y'all, I'm gonna let my husband say something about that, because one of the things that he said to me early on was that, what's that used to say? You don't put no, you ain't hold something you said. I can't remember how you said it, but you don't be trying to lock people down or something you said. I don't know how you said it, but you want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, it's real simple. I guess this thing is to say I ain't trying to handcuff nobody.
That's it.
The point is, what is trust? You have to ask yourself that question. What is trust? And people view trust again. In fact, let me just say it this way: everything that you do has to start from within. I tell my wife this a lot, and my sons. When something comes to you, how many times does it come to you? And she told me one time, if you think of something, you think, no, it doesn't. It happens twice. First, before anything comes into the physical, it has to come through the spiritual first. It comes from somewhere. Either it comes to you, and that's the reason why you have to be so guarded spiritually. Then it comes to the physical. So everything that occurs in and around us happens twice. How you react to it, that is the next step in that evolution. For her, the things that she do or not do, my job is to make sure that I am on the journey in a way that is supportive. Do we get it right every time? No. Have we had our heated what do you call it? Fellowship? Yeah, that term. Yeah, it happens. But the thing is, if you're not willing to, and again, I'm on that journey as well, regardless if might not be physical in the vehicle, but my journey is with her because I am reaping the fruits of her journey. But I also have to be open to receive those blessings or all the things that she's going through and learning as she's carving herself. I'm also getting to see that that being molded. So again, hopefully I haven't been a little bit outside the box of trying to explain it, but everything starts with you. And if you're not open, doesn't matter what comes at you, you're never going to receive it because you're not open. The other thing that I wanted to just point out is for those people who are caregivers. I use that as an example. If you're a caregiver and you're taking care of someone all the time, no one is there for you. Everybody expects you to be strong. So when you're giving care to everyone, you're pouring in, but no one is pouring into you. And it's the same thing in a relationship. If you're pouring into everybody else, but no one is pouring into you, your bucket is going to be empty. So think about you being in the desert and you're walking with, say she and I are walking, and I have a little bit of water and she has water. She drinks hers. And then I have just a drop. She asked me to give her some of my water, and I do. Well, now neither of us have water because our containers are empty. But in the process, if I'm able to fill my bucket completely, it overflows. And now that overflow can go to her and everyone else. So that's the best way I can explain that, hopefully.
And I will also say something that I think is paramount in relationships. If you are going into a relationship and you are trying to change someone, I want you to think about how hard it is to even change yourself. One of the things I was very, 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 very adamant about, even when I was creating my profiles on the dating apps, was I was letting people know that I've already grown. I've already been raised. I'm not looking for a daddy. I got one. I'm not looking for a father for my children. They got one, and all the things. This is me. I'm not changing who I am to be in a relationship with nobody but God. I'm not changing to be in relationship with nobody but to be in relationship with God. And I'm going to also say, and to be in relationship with myself, because I do have to make some changes to be in relationship with myself. Now, that is not to say that I will not work on things, not change, but work on the things that may be harmful to my relationship with my husband, my family, my children, and things like that. Because I am who I am. You either going to love me or you're not. But to go into a relationship and not accept a person for who they are and have the and I will say this because when I married my first husband, I was 18 years old. I didn't know anything. But let me be honest, a lot of times we would see red flags in people and we would be like, we can love them into being who we want them to be. We can do the things that will change them instead of accepting them for who they are. So I don't like the word allow, but I get what you're saying. Accepts me for who I am, and still I have dependence and I have independence, and it's balance. And he does too, because he can depend on me to support him in the ways that he needs to be supported so that he can be the king of and the leader of our household, but he can also still be James. I've never once said, I don't want you to go play soccer. Have I?
Because I never listened.
But I know that it's very important to him, or football rather. I would never attempt to stop him from doing what it is that makes his heart, his soul happy. And I think that's how he feels about me. But that's also because we have accepted the good, the bad, and the ugly. We may not like the ugly, we may not like the bad, but the good outweighs all of those.
You know, the song says there's no message, without the mess. Remember that. And there's no testimony without the test. So you have to go through those things. Those are part of the life journey. And but it's how you deal with it. And you ain't always going to deal with it right. Some days you're going to fall. And I tell my sons all the time, you're going to fail. And failure is good. And if you fail, at least fail forward in the direction you're going. So failure is a good thing on that. So
who is Monique and Sid keeping life simple? I have no idea who they are. And Neil Avant, you are so right. We've been taught in this world, it's specifically in this country, to abandon ourselves and to not think of ourselves until it is convenient and it will propel you into that level of success. And I use that word loosely, that this world has defined for us, which is part of also the reason why I am on and have been on my healing journey, because I never was comfortable with self-made, because ain't none of us self-made. Ain't none of us made ourselves. We got here because of a egg and sperm, and those were created by Mother, Father, God. So we ain't none of us self-made. None of us are self-made, even in the monies that we make, because someone helped us. Actually, the first thought about that idea came from God. You didn't just get it. So you ain't self-made. Nobody is self-made. It requires everybody. You got a team of people. You got all the things, but y'all get the point. We're not self-made. So we've been taught to abandon ourselves. We've been taught to ignore our pain. We've been taught for the sake of everybody else for the sake of productivity, aka capitalism, and all the things. So don't beat yourself up that you forgot to have a relationship with yourself, because you're taught not to have a relationship with yourself. Because if you have a relationship with yourself, that means that you can call people out on their BS because now you recognize that it is going against what it is that you want and what you need and how you feel, and that they're wrong. So now you can call and see, people don't want to be called out, especially in this country. This country wants to continue to have you blind to the truth. That's why they're trying to take, critical race theory and all the things about what they did and are still doing in this country. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Well, my husband tapping me.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I just want to add something real quick. And it was, I think a question was asked a while back before this. Before we were prepping for this live.
Oh, and her son, Dad's name is James, and her son.
So a little bit about me. I grew up in a house.
No, I don't know who Monique and Sid are.
Don't know. So a little bit about me. I grew up, like you guys know, I'm from the Caribbean. But the thing is, I grew up in a house of strong women. I was surrounded by queens. And even though I had my grandfather, I had other males, the women were recognized as the true pillars of the house, even in the community. They're because you can see it in the things and how they move. Yes, the men work, but the women, they discipline you. They do what they're supposed to do, and then some. So when I hear, especially when men make derogatory comments about women and degrade them and so on, I have to ask myself, where did you come from? No, did you drop out of the sky? Did you pop out of the earth like a plant? No, you came from a woman. We all came from a woman. And so it is important to give honor and make sure that you are always uplifting the women in and around you. To me, that is there's nothing else. You can't tell me anything else that is going to change my mind about that. I've seen it, I lived it, and and I'm always going to honor women because of what they do. And yes, they do a lot that's not seen, not heard, or ever appreciated. So that's my view on that, and it will never change. So stand tall, queens.
Amen. Yeah. Exactly. If you disrespect women, you disrespect your mama. Amen. This is a question that came from, I'm going back to that question because this is so important. User-NZ9VR8ZZ5J, whoever that is. It says, does the weight of all the stuff in your van have an effect on the drive/balance of the vehicle? Absolutely. Not just on my van, but even in our cars. A lot of people don't think about the weight limitations of even their vehicles. Okay. And there are weight limitations. If you look on your VIN information, it will say what the axle weights are, the up to axle weights are, the front axle, the rear axle, the total gross weight of the van with people and things in it or of the car. So yes, it absolutely does. Too much weight. So if I think my front axle has, I think 6,000 on the back, and it's like 4,000 or something like that. I can't remember, but those are very important. So I do weigh my van. I go to the truck stops, I get on the scale, and I weigh my van to make sure that I am always underweight. And I've also done things to minimize any issues with my suspension. So overweight will, of course, affect your suspension. Okay. So I have airbags. I have leaf spring helpers. I have blocks. I have heavy duty shocks. The tires on my van are representative of the type of weight that I'm carrying, but I also try to minimize the weight that I'm carrying, which one of the reasons why I'm back home of course, I surprised my husband. He didn't know I was coming. Is I wanted to take some of the things that I have not used and will not be using, because if I haven't used them in the 3 months that I've been traveling, I'm more than not likely not going to use them. I'm trying to minimize some of the clothing that I've taken. That is the hardest thing for me, because I am a fashionista. I like to look good. I like to smell good, and I like choice. I like choice, but I have to really be concerned with the weight that I carry. And even though I've been underweight and she has not had any issues, it is very important to keep that in mind. Balance. She's top heavy. If you are even if you are a tractor trailer, you're top heavy.
Yeah, something to that.
So I have to be careful. Like when I'm traveling, I look and see what the wind speeds are. If I'm going in an area and the wind speeds I try not to travel in wind speeds over 9-10 miles an hour, preferably lower. But I can definitely deal with 9 and 10, but 15 and anything, I don't travel, because I'll be flying around like y'all ever seen The Wiz? Y'all know how stuff be flying around? That's how I might be flying around, because she's top heavy. And when the trucks and things pass me by, I also have a stabilizer, or is it stabilizer? I can't remember what it is, but I had a rear something put on to minimize that rock when the tractor trailers or wind goes past me, to minimize that, because I am top heavy. So yes, that weight will and does affect your it doesn't necessarily, it'll affect your drive if you don't do things to minimize that. So that's why I've done all of those things. And it's very important to make sure you know the weight of your van with everything in it. That means a full tank of gas, a full load of water, all of your belongings, all the people that are going to be in it, all of those things. That's how you know how much weight you could possibly be carrying at one time with everything fully loaded. And I've done that, and I do that. I probably weigh my van once every 2 to 3 months, just to be on the safe side, even though I know I ain't really done anything. I just want to be safe. Okay. And James has something to say about that.
So a couple of things on the van, or just your vehicle at large. If you have let's say 9,000 pound vehicle, regardless if it's a car or van or semi truck, that 9,000 pounds still has to come to a stop. And people don't think about that. If you're going 60 miles an hour with 9,000 pounds, and you go 10 miles just above that, the distance that you have to stop because of inertia is going to change. Mm-hmm. And people don't think about that when they're driving, because, you figure, hey, it's going to stop like a car, and it won't. Hence, you see these videos all the time where people just cut in front of a semi truck and expect that it's going to stop. Yeah, it's going to stop. It's going to stop in the back of your truck, or in your back seat. So the point I'm making here is also, as you're driving and your vehicle is rocking back and forth, the other thing that you have to be careful with is when your vehicle is rocking back and forth, that angle changes, and you have to make sure you have control. If you don't have control, then the road is controlling you. And then again, something bad can happen. Last thing is weather. You can see how the weather is changing across the country. One minute you have cold weather, next minute it's hot, next minute you have tornadoes. My wife will tell you, wherever she's traveling, I'm communicating with her, because I'm going to tell her what is happening with the weather, because we're having extreme and more extreme weather, and you're traveling in a location that you're not familiar with. You don't know about floods. You don't know landslides. All those are things that can affect you catastrophically. So you have to think about those things. I ain't trying to be Debbie Downer here, but just be aware that these things could occur, and just do your due diligence. Pay attention to the weather. And if you're not sure, pull over somewhere, let it ride out, then roll on. Especially if you're not sure how your vehicle actually performs on the road. Okay? Because it's still 4 tires. And regardless of the name of your car and whatever fancy stuff it has, it's still 4 tires on the road.
Amen. Keeping life simple. Yes, I can't wait to see. Are you gonna video? You gonna record you raising your roof? And yes, you have some great subbies. My subbies are awesome as well. And I hate to say subbies, my family, my liberated soul family, because they be looking out for me. When I tell you they be going in on some of them people in these comments, they be trying to come for a sister. Hey, they be like, get it. They be getting them all the way right. So I love it. I love it. I'm so grateful for all of you. April's Jeep Journeys. Oh, why are you not on the road? What's going on? And yes, being on the road, it does feel like total freedom. It's a different kind of freedom. And then unless you've experienced it, it's hard to truly explain it. I can't even put it in words how I feel. It's it's not about, it's the freedom of simply being. It's not the freedom of being able to just do what you want, but it's like this freedom of being able to just be in your body, to be who you are. It's very different, and I wouldn't change it for the world. This is an experience that I hope that when I leave this life, that I can still remember some of this.
Let me say something real quick about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the greatest problems that we have as human beings is getting started.
Yeah, I said, you so crazy, girl.
And getting started is always the hardest thing in any journey. And I think that for people who see her on the road or know that she's on the road because of her channel and so on, we put ourselves in her shoes, and our fears, of course, we put those forward. But when she started this journey, I had my fears. I had my reservations. I talked to her. She could tell you, I talked to her to death about everything because I'm about safety. And, and I'm going to constantly be, did you do this? Did you have this? Do you do this? Do you do that? But not everyone has that, is going to have those individuals who are in their corner and with the same concern. And sometimes that journey that you start is your own and only your own. And that's unfortunate. But again, I think that's why you have this community, so that these things can be brought forward so that you can learn and grow as well. So you're not alone in this journey. Even though you're driving down the road, you still have this community who's following you. And I'm just praying that everyone who is on this journey, who is deciding to make this journey, take the bold step, and you're going to make mistakes. Believe me, you're going to screw it up. But the thing is, as you grow and you learn, you're building closer to where you want to be. It's like steps, each one. But don't be afraid to start, because I think if you never do it, I think it steals something completely from you. And you don't want to be down the road looking and say, I wish I could have, should have, because that right there is a people killer, because you're there and you're wishing, oh, I'm too old or whatever. So take the journey, just make sure that, it's a vehicle that somebody else can fit in.
Somebody else can fit in it. All I have to do is move the stuff.
He's a midget.
In the front. That's a good segue into a question that I got. But first, I wanted to share this product that I'm using. This is the Pina Colada Lip Balm by Aurora's Candles and Bath. Miss Virginia Wiley, thank you. I just got home. I was finally able to try your products. And when I tell y'all, I'm loving them. This lip scrub, I have been having dry lips, and I have I like Alicia Keys products, a few of them, and her lip balm worked for a little while, but for some reason it just wasn't working, and it felt like my lips had an extra layer of skin or something on it, and no matter what I did, I could not get my lips right. And so I was constantly exfoliating when I was cleansing my face, and that works. It does help. But y'all, when I tell you this pina colada lip scrub, first of all, you can eat it. It's so good. It has sugar, honey, coconut oil, jojoba oil, and flavoring. It is so good. It worked the first time, and I just used it. Today is Sunday. I used it on Thursday or Friday. And y'all, my lips feel amazing. And then I was using the lip balm. It has beeswax, coconut butter, shea butter, castor oil, jojoba oil, vitamin E, and flavoring. And I can read all of these. I can say all the words. Miss Virginia, you have done it. I am, and I have not had a chance to try your shampoo, but I am going to try it. But I did use the oil on my scalp today. It smells amazing. It's the hair oil, rosemary, mint, and biotin. And it felt good. Now, what I am going to do, though, I'm going to be honest, is I'm going to add more peppermint to it because I like to feel the peppermint. And I'm going to add some tea tree oil. That's from me. But it does have black Jamaican castor oil, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, apricot kernel oil, biotin, and rosemary mint. I have used all of these in the past, but she put it in this oil and I absolutely love it. So Miss Virginia, thank you. I will reach out to you on via email also.
So this one with the black Jamaican oil, let me tell you, when you finish using it, you're going to be sounding, man, what I tell you this here, feeling like right, man. I want to get me a little bit of reggae to go with this. I tell you. Bam, 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 and it's going, bam, hey. Yeah, use it.
April, yay. I'm so grateful that you were able to make it back home to Cali. Yes. Hopefully we'll get a chance to meet on the road. He's so silly. Lizette, he is so silly.
I don't think so.
I love my Palmer Skin success. I have been trying something different, still plant-based, still vegan, still clean. And I'm trying to figure out because I've used the same products for years, and sometimes you just need to change up. So that's what I'm trying to do. But I love the pina colada lip balm. It feels so good and light on my lips. That just feels so good. Next question. I think we're going to add 2 more questions, and then we're going to, because it's 8:56. Charlene Lamb 2166. She says, what was your bill tally for Nina Simone? Who, where are those vendors? Well, I talked about my actual builder. He's in North Carolina. My electrician and plumber is in Maryland. Again, I'm never going to share the solar person. So you're going to have to find somebody else to do that. Hopefully I'll get my husband to learn how to do that. I think that would be great for us to learn to do if we could travel and do it because we want to, yeah. But my bill tally, I really don't know. I'll be honest. Being an insurance agent, which is my profession, and I've been in the insurance industry since 1988. So I've been in the insurance industry a long time. When I insured Liberty Serenity, I insured her for agreed value because I also know how to price vehicles because my former husband and I used to have a car dealership and all the things. And then my brothers are diesel mechanics and I've had some lemons. So I used the proceeds from Liberty Serenity to build Nina Simone. I honestly don't know what my bill was because I wasn't concerned with it. I wasn't planning on sharing that with anyone, but I would venture to say that I don't know. I don't know. 40,000? I don't know. I think it was because you got to remember my solar was about 6,000. The van itself was 6,000. I don't know, but I used the proceeds from that loss to do Nina Simone. Had I not had those proceeds, I would be like everybody else. I wouldn't have been able to build my van unless, we pull some money from one place to borrow from Peter to pay Paul or do something like that. So it's not, even though we did a lot of things to minimize the cost and things like that, it is not cheap to to build a van from the ground up. And in those instances, I would say start with what you have and go from there and build a little at a time. And you will finally have what you want. Again, I was blessed with the additional funds because I knew what I was doing with insurance to make sure that if anything happened to Liberty Serenity, that I would be able to get another vehicle. And I was going to get another RV, but at that time when I lost her, people had started raising the prices of RVs astronomically because they realized that people were trying to get away due to COVID. And I wasn't going to pay for what they wanted for something that I knew was not valued at that, because once the market comes down is where your true value is, not when the market is high. And again, it depreciates. Vehicles do not appreciate until they become antiques, and not everything is an antique, right? Okay. So again, not being, I don't know, because I really didn't
say something real
keep
quick
up with it.
So if you're going to do a build, I would just say a couple of things that I think that's very important is plan. Really take your time and plan what you want to have in your vehicle. You can't have everything, but plan what is.
Yes, you can.
Well, okay.
I have everything.
Plan based what I guess, and that's a good point. Plan based on what is going to fit, but also because people build and then it's no functionality. I guess that's
right.
That's the point I'm getting at. So yes, you can have everything you want in your vehicle, but not at the expense of over a greater cost to you.
Mm-hmm.
But take your time and plan how you want the layout and so on and so forth. I think that would help tremendously. And again, just take your time. That's the most important. Just take your time and see where it goes from there. Because if you rush, you're going to end up buying things, getting this thing, and then they don't fit. And the thing about the build, it takes time, and those things you can't send them back because sometimes you're waiting for this person to help you with the build or to install this thing, and then you have a part that you need to be part of your build, and then months go by, and in that case the cost will just start to skyrocket, and then you have a great lemon, so that's why it's so important to plan.
And y'all, it took me, I lost Nina Simone July of 2021.
Yeah, something like that.
No, 2022. No, I don't know. July 5th of 2021 or July 5th of 2022, one of those. And I did not buy Nina Simone until that December of that same year. And I didn't start building her until January, if you will, because she had to go into the shop and get some mechanical things done. And I didn't finish the build, finish the build until October of last year. My maiden voyage was December of last year. And I'm back home now. When I came back from a maiden voyage in February, we took care of a few things that I noticed needed to be repaired or changed or upgraded or anything. And I'm back home now finalizing a few things. Like, for instance, I'm going to tell y'all about that in a new video. So I won't tell you what those upgrades or changes are. Sunshine, thank you so much for being here. Nisi, thank you so much for being here. Yvette, everybody that's been here. So it has taken me a year, almost 2 years to finally get on the road. And something different about me that everybody doesn't have this gift. This is a gift that I have. Even when we built our house, I only had the measurements from the plans. And I furnished this entire house sight unseen because we designed our house. There is not a house that's built like this house where we are. Okay, nobody else has our house because we designed this house. And I had nothing to work with except the measurements. And I bought rugs, furniture, all the things we bought. But anywho, that's a gift that I have that I didn't know I had. I honestly didn't know I had it. And I decorated the house with that. I used that same gift in building out Nina Simone. But I will say this, I measured. I actually created plans. I worked with different designs in my mind, and I would put them on paper, and I would go out in the van and I would take cardboard boxes. I would do all sorts of things, painter's tape, to make sure that it would fit. That's why everything fits, not because it was just a stroke of luck. I did the work beforehand to know what I was going to, and I knew what I was going to need. I knew that I did not want to have a shower. I knew that I knew was going to have a stove, because I can cook outside, but I don't really want to. I don't like people in my business. I don't like people asking me questions and stuff. When people see you cooking outside, oh, that smells so good. I'm not a small talk kind of person a lot of times. So I kind of like to be private, but I'm also still an extrovert. So I knew certain things about and that's key. That's a question somebody asked me about starting this RV lifestyle. What would I tell somebody? Know thyself. That's the first thing. Know thyself. Because if you don't know what will work for you, if you don't know what you can do without, if you don't know what you cannot do without, if you don't know the type of person that you are, you're going to be buying and doing things and attempting things based on what you see other people doing. And that's not how I operate. I could care less what's in your rig. I may see what's in your rig and get inspiration, but at the end of the day, I know what my must-haves and I knew that I was going to have certain things. And I knew I was going to have a place for my closet, for my clothes. And I was grateful to find people who had built those closets into their vans. But the first thing is you got to know yourself. Not just in your build and what you want in your rig, but also why you are going out there in it. Now, some people are in their rigs out of necessity, because this housing market is crazy, and it is unfortunate but I'm so grateful that they have their rigs, because it could be certainly worse. They could be unsheltered and things like that. But know why you're doing it, especially if you are making a choice to do this lifestyle. If you don't have a choice, that's different. But if you're making a choice to do this lifestyle, whether full-time or part-time, stand 10 toes down in your decision by knowing who you are, why you're doing this, because that why is going to be why you are able to stay out there even when it gets rough. April talked about a heat wave. I have a 12-volt AC, and it was still hot in my rig. I could have given up many times. She could have given up. But if you don't know your why, you will give up. And then you will say it didn't work out because van life is too hard, or RV life is too hard, and all the things. When that's not it. It was just that you weren't committed. Now, it's not to say that it's not hard, because it's not all fun and games, honey. Sometimes you got to get out there and change tires, and you got to do the things. Like I got stuck. It's a lot to it. It ain't, you be tired. The same things you got to do in your house, you got to do in a van. It may take a little bit longer, or everything take longer in a van or RV. It just does. But know thyself first. That's one of and I think that was Love, Live, Dance that asked that question. And yeah, James, you got something to say?
Just one last thing. A lot of people go to these sites, we get inspiration from YouTube and Instagram and so on. But unfortunately, people put out the good, how wonderful things are. They don't show you the hell you go through sometimes just trying to get one thing to fit. They don't show you the hours that it takes to solve a problem. And so when you take on that journey, you're left with the frustration that come along with it. And then you're wondering, why is this so difficult? And unfortunately, we have a tendency to give up. And that's why I said earlier, the journey has to be one you're willing to take. And don't worry about what's going on in and around you. Take your time and chart your own course. Take your time.
Mhm.
Take your time. Take your time. And it annoys me to no end when I see videos on YouTube and they make it look like it's all flowers and and, uh, and unicorns, and it ain't. You know, that ain't life.
Don't get
So
me wrong, there is some lots of rainbows and unicorns and some beautiful things that we do experience. But we experience those in life too. Like I've seen some of the most beautiful places, and I cannot wait to get to the West Coast because I know there are even more beautiful places in this country. And I mean, I loved Nova Scotia. I am not kidding how much I love Nova Scotia. I enjoyed Vermont. I enjoyed Maine. I enjoyed um, Rhode Island. So many places that I truly enjoyed, and I had some beautiful moments. I boondocked at some beautiful places that I've been able to find. But even in the midst of those things, there were things that didn't always go right. For instance, just getting to West Virginia, I noticed that's an upcoming video. I can't tell you. Y'all got to just set them notifications and make sure you get the next one of the videos. But my point is, it is beautiful, but it's just like living in a sticks and bricks. You're gonna have ups and downs. I'm gonna tell you about the good and the bad and the ugly. So far, I've had some really great things, but you all know that I broke down, and that's one of the reasons why I will not share who the solar person is, because I broke down because of reckless work that they did. And anywho, but it's beautiful, but you got to know yourself when you get into this, because if you don't know who you are, I'm telling you, you will be making decisions and choices based on somebody else's dreams, desires, and wants because you haven't figured out who you are. Yes, and April says you have to do a test run to know what works for you. That's why I did my maiden voyage, and it was for almost 2 months. I spent all of January with my baby girl in Florida because she was moving. And it gave me an opportunity to really figure out what worked and what didn't work. And even these last 3 months of traveling has shown me where I need to make some minor tweaks. Casey, hey, beautiful. I'm glad you caught us too, Lizette. And Nisi, thank you so much. She says, sir, you have a badass wife. I've learned so much from her. We, the members of BWWRV, are blessed to know her. And I'm blessed to know you all too, because I think everybody, sometimes we miss, this is not a one-way street. You all bless me as well. You all simply being here, every like, every comment, every share, every super thanks, every you being on these lives, every question, every comment like that, it inspires me and encourages me to continue moving forward on this journey, because I know that this is not just for me. I think it was Isis that said that you watch me spread my wings and it helped you to continue to spread your wings. That's what this is about too. This isn't just about me. This is also about, I want my sisters and other ethnicities too, but specifically my sisters, to tap into the truth of who they are. I want us to grow, thrive, and flourish. That's why at every end of my video, I keep encouraging you to plant the seeds, nurture the seeds, water the seeds, do everything you can, because on the other side of that discomfort of watering, growing, nurturing, and all the things is where your dreams are able to come true. It's where you can reclaim the dreams. It's where you can reclaim adventure, where you can reclaim curiosity, everything that they told us that wasn't for us, specifically for us as Black people. Like most of them think that we ain't supposed to be doing this lifestyle. We're not supposed to be able to afford rigs. We're not supposed to be at these campgrounds. I saw a sign where someone in Black Hikers Unite, someone was walking on a hiking trail and it says, "Watch out for niggers." Somebody was in another place and they had the KKK, and then they had drawn the Confederate flag. So everywhere we go, we encounter some of this negativity. But the way that we reclaim and reconnect to our power and live in our power is that we got to keep getting out there doing what scares the heck out of them, which is us tapping into our power, and what scares the heck out of us, which is also tapping into our power, because we don't know our power. So yes. Yvette Newberry said, is it worth it? You darn Skippy. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Casey came to our inaugural meetup in Georgia, August of 2023. We did not do anything this year because I have been trying to find my own feet as I'm doing this epic road trip. But prayerfully, I will get things under control. And it's happening slowly but surely. You all, it is 9:15 and we do have some more questions, but we will save them for another live. And in that live, maybe we'll have even more questions or suggestions, and maybe we can have some more, who knows, we may even meet another couple who's out there whose husband is solo or the wife is solo or something like that. And who knows, we may invite them to be on the live with us. Sunshine, yes. Sunshine says, I have the full support of my husband, like James, to go out and have a good time for me and find myself. I have to be honest, I can't wait to get my beautiful Black girl power out there. Yes, I know that's right. And it does. There is a different level when you have the support, and it doesn't have to even be your hubby or your partner or significant other, but simply having the support of family and friends. It makes a difference. But even if you don't have their support, remember, this journey is not about them, but it can actually inspire them and give them the courage to step outside of the box that they built for themselves and try to put you in. Okay. So yeah, Babes has something.
So I'm gonna have to step away, but I want to.
We get ready.
I want to address something very poignant.
Thank you, April. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you, Casey. Everybody.
There is the comment that you hear that she said the sign when they were hiking about be aware of niggas, and I want you guys to know something very important. The word niggas, I
forgot about that.
It comes from the word nigas, which is Ethiopian for king. Look it up.
You too, beautiful.
Negus.
Don't leave. This is very important.
So just understand that just because, again, trust but verify. That's how I live. Trust but verify. Someone tells you something, look it up. Negus. Ethiopian for king. Okay? I'm going to leave it like that.
So what they thought was a insult to us is actually a compliment. So when somebody say that word to you, even though they shouldn't be using it in the derogatory way that they are trying to use it in a derogatory way. But we can actually change that? We can be like, yeah, I sure am. Thank you. I thank you. You don't even know what you just called me. You called me a king. Thank you for verifying what I already knew. Now, that's a good way to get somebody. We have enjoyed it. It has been amazing. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I love you all. And as always, when we're closing out, I'm going to need y'all to do something. Do me a favor. I'm going to need you all to do this on a continuous basis. And I know it's not easy. Continue to grow, thrive, and flourish. But the only way you can do that is that you got to plant them seeds. Whatever that seed is, if your seed is you want to start a business, you want to go back to school, you want to retire, you want to do this lifestyle, whatever that seed is, plant the seed. Make sure you water it. Make sure you give it nourishment. Make sure you nurture it. Make sure that even when the path gets a little murky or it gets a little crazy and you don't know if it's really going to work, I'm living testimony that it will. I'm living testimony that it will. It may not look the way you want, because I thought I was going to be in an RV. I am in a van. I thought I was going to be doing this a totally different way. But I kept nurturing. I kept watering the seeds, and I would not give up on my dream. I would not give up on what I felt was for me. You have to do the same thing, no matter what. That's how you grow. That's how you thrive. And that's how you get to the part where you are flourishing. Okay. So promise me that you'll do that, because I want you to be able to create and live the life that you want, that you deserve, the one that Mother, Father, God already has in the works for you. waiting on you to catch up, waiting on you to catch up, to believe and trust. Know that even in the midst of those things where it looks like it's not working out for your good, it really is working out for your good, because maybe he's moving some obstacles. Maybe Mother, Father, God is moving some obstacles out the way. Maybe Mother, Father, God is creating things that will make you think about what it is that you want to do, what you need to do, what you thought you should do. There's a whole lot that could be going on, but you got to trust, you got to believe, and you got to stay focused, and you got to be deliberate. You got to be intentional. You got to be purposeful. And I will see you all in the next live or the next video, which there will be a video coming out soon. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you for allowing us into your space.
You better believe the word has power.
And also,
a belief and intentional action is what gets that power activated, because a lot of people will say there is knowledge is power. No, knowledge is not power, because there's a whole lot of people that have knowledge, but if you don't know how to apply that knowledge and use it, it's worthless.
and most importantly,
thank you, Rock Now Journey. We appreciate that.
I was going to say, most importantly, through all of this, make sure that you're be blessed on purpose.
Yes.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Or good day, depending on where you are. Love you. Absolutely, Lizette. You got my number, sis. Y'all be good. I love you. Take care.